Well, hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Welcome over to our Solar Plexus class today. Um, I'm really excited to teach this class. I don't know, guys. I love teaching classes to you guys, so I hope that you love listening. Um, because I hope that you guys will find some help, at least on the spiritual, into balancing your mind, body, and soul. And so just a little housekeeping, just please keep in mind that this class is spiritual in nature. It is not meant as medical advice or to diagnose, treat, or prescribe any medical condition. And so please consult your doctor, your practitioner, therapist before trying things that we talk about. But hopefully you will find some spiritual support with this class to help you understand your body more, understand your energetic spiritual body, the soul that resides within you, and how to heal those things. So I'm super excited that you guys are all here. And we're going to just start. I'm going to get my little notes up and talk about the solar plexus. So I'm going to give you some general information about solar plexuses and chakras, just so that we're all on the same page. So when we first talk about chakras are energetic centers of your body. It is where your spiritual body expels out old energy and draws in new energy. Typically, most people will teach about a 7, 9, or 11 chakra system. Just know that there's hundreds of chakras. Every joint, your liver has 3, your heart has 2. So there's actually a lot more chakras. But it's just so confusing that we don't typically talk about all the chakras at once. It could be overwhelming to everybody. And so, the solar plexus is considered the 3rd chakra. It's considered your personal power center. It rules emotions. So the butterflies in your stomach, the intuitions, the worry, the fears, the excitement, all kind of lives in that stomach. So it just really rules your emotions, your emotional center. It is typically located, I never know if I pronounce this right, right below the sternum, like the xiphoid process, kind of like your breastbones. It goes from there till about like the top of your belly button, in general. And that's where that energetic center lies. Typically, if you're looking at the solar plexus, the color of the solar plexus is kind of like a nice, vibrant, orangey yellow. I like to call this my solar plexus shirt because not only is it yellow, but it's got a big old sunflower on it, kind of like the sunflower on my wall. And this reminds me of that solar plexus chakra. It reminds me of like this big flower that's bringing in energy and kind of just re-energizing my body. It reminds me of excitement and joy and laughter and childhood innocence, which to me are all kind of what the solar plexus is about. Solar plexus is meant to be like that fun and that free-spiritedness, but also that gut instinct, that voice that speaks to you, or that kind of pit of your feeling in your stomach that goes, oh, wait, don't drive that way home from work. There might be a car accident. So you take the different way home, and lo and behold, there was a car accident on your normal path. Or that gut that says, I don't know why, I just need to drive over and check on grandma. We check on grandma and find out she's had an accident. Or it's, the gut instinct of, I think my kid forgot their lunch today. And you know what? And you look down and lo and behold, they left it on the floor, and so you can drive back. So it's that gut instinct. It is also the protective instinct as well. And when it is developed, it is the masculine intuition. And we have many types of intuition that we carry in our bodies. And some types are more gentle, soft, nurturing intuitions. And sometimes they're more like strong, forceful, powerful intuitions. And the gut instinct and the solar plexus are part of those. The solar plexus chakra is our beliefs, our personal beliefs about who we are, who other people are, our beliefs about society and other people. It's our judgments of ourselves and others. It's our feelings. How do we feel about ourselves? So how do we feel about others? How do we feel about like the world around us? It's where we hold, not the only area, but one of the areas where we hold like our hopes and our dreams. And so when we experience life, it is about those experiences. And that solar plexus is how we're going to process emotions. So, there's times where you might have 10 people that go through the same experience, but how they process that experience is going to be different for everybody. And so think about it like going on a roller coaster, and 10 friends decide to go on a roller coaster. And we get on. Some people are really scared, really nervous, like, oh, I don't know. Other people are like, yeah, put me in the front. I'm so excited. Let's do this. Other people are like, okay, we can do this, right? And so everybody kind of has a different perspective, like what the roller coaster is like. And then the roller coaster starts. And some people that are like, yeah, this is awesome, maybe at the end go, oh my gosh, that was horrible. And the people that are like, oh, I'm so scared at the end might have been like, yes, that was so cool, let's go again, right? They each processed the identical experience in different ways. And if our emotional center is processing those emotions in scary, like I'm scared, or I'm fearful, or that was really scary, things that we end up having a very strong emotional response to will affect the solar plexus, either positively or negatively. And so like that roller coaster, some people are going to go, oh my gosh, I love roller coasters. All I want to do is ride roller coasters for the rest of my life. That was so cool. And then there's other people that are like, I'm never going on a roller coaster again. That was horrible. That was traumatic. And when something is like horrible, it will kind of start to cause issues with the solar plexus. If something is amazing, the solar plexus will light up and kind of, yeah, let's draw on this energy and experience. Sometimes it might light up too much and expand too much, or it might close down too much. And people decide how to treat those emotions subconsciously by tuning into that solar plexus and seeing, how do I feel about myself? How do I feel about that experience? And, so it's about how we act and react. And so that solar plexus is also about self-confidence, self-respect, understanding who you are. We were talking about this just briefly in my class before this, where I was like, do you guys ever feel like sometimes like, I don't really know who I am? I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, I feel weird. Like, is this really me in my skin suit? Like, I kind of even feel that right now, a little bit of like, oh, okay, this is the body I'm in. Okay. And, so that's the chakra that you want to really work on healing and balancing. So really understand who you are. If you're searching for your soul purpose, part of that resides in that solar plexus. The people that have like an imbalanced solar plexus so if someone's solar plexus is like huge, like all the way beyond the size, typically your chakras should kind of be, about 3 feet, 2 feet around from your body. Some of them are bigger, like a third eye or a crown chakra, if you're, more of a spiritually in tune person. Sometimes the root chakra will be a little bit bigger, but typically the solar plexus is about like 3 feet. Some people, it'll go out like 6 feet, like massive. And so when that solar plexus gets really big and imbalanced, typically that will manifest in anger, frustration, outbursts, feeling of being out of control, or wanting to control everything and everyone. It will also get that big when we feel like we need to be protected. So I had a really bad experience and it kind of gets really big and I want to make a shield. And when a solar plexus is really big, I would get up and show you, my desk space is real small here. Typically people who have big bellies are going to have overexpanded solar plexuses because their body is like, oh, there was a danger. We need protection. Open up that solar plexus shield of protection, kind of like, a superhero shield. Whoop, okay, I'm protected. And it's so open that the body starts to expand in that area as a shield of protection. When we look at people with narcissism, they sometimes will end up with a very underactive solar plexus. So it may be really small or it may be really, really big, but it's not functioning properly. It's not giving and receiving energy. It's not having that proper energetic exchange. People who are having like really strong, like violent tendencies will typically have an underactive solar plexus that's really massive in size. So it's really huge, but it's not exchanging that energy properly. So those are kind of some of those things. Can't say the words. The solar plexus, if it's imbalanced, if it's too small or too big, is not correctly functioning, the people who have those imbalances will either be exploited or want to exploit other people. And they will feed on fears and insecurities, which is why, you typically have the narcissist and the empath. And so I'm the empath with a solar plexus that's imbalanced. And so my body put a big flub-a-dub belly in front of me for protection. Versus, the narcissist who has it like completely imbalanced. And so they're like, ooh, let me steal your energy. And they may or may not recognize it, but the solar plexus is our gut instincts. It is where we become aware of others' motives on, like, do we feel safe? Do we feel threatened? And so if your solar plexus is imbalanced, you may feel constantly threatened because if it's really wide open, or, you might feel constantly unsafe. Or on the other side, you may feel like you need to threaten people or control people in order to feel safe and protected. And so the solar plexus is really kind of what I think is one of the main chakras. Like if I look at the main chakras, it's one of the 5 main chakras, and you have the throat chakra, the heart, solar plexus, sacral, and root. To me, those are like the big priority chakras where if we're imbalanced, it's going to look differently. It's going to look like we have health issues, mental health imbalances, and things like that. So those are like the main ones that really need to be balanced, versus like if you look at the third eye chakra, most people, their third eye is either really tiny or completely closed. And they're typically able to function pretty normal lives with a closed third eye chakra. It doesn't really bother them. But if your solar plexus was closed, like, look out. That would be like a huge issue. There are actually people who claim that they can close and remove chakras. Oh, have mercy is all I have to say on that. Never do that. So hopefully this is kind of making sense to you guys so far. Everybody's so quiet. So I'm like, all right, I hope everybody's like awake and they're understanding everything. So if anybody has questions, post them in the comments below. Otherwise, I'm just going to assume that I am like doing amazing at teaching. So woohoo, okay. I always wonder, this is like, when we talk about solar plexus, insecurities are stored in the solar plexus. Emotions are processed in the solar plexus. And so years ago, I had a coach, a speaking coach, tell me that if your audience had no questions, you were not doing your job properly. And so I was like, oh no, I'm not doing my job. I'm not doing my job if people didn't have questions for me. And so I know now that's not true, because as I've learned other things, I've learned that people have questions when they don't understand us. And so, but it still sticks with me. So thank you for that, guys. I appreciate the little ego boost. So, all right, so we're going to go on and talk about what are the health issues that can be associated with a solar plexus chakra imbalance. So keep in mind, you have a solar plexus chakra on the front and on the back. And so we talked about some of the mental health things, like, tendency to be violent, explosive, angry, narcissism. Also, if you're looking on the opposite end of that spectrum, it'd also be like someone who's like, oh, they have no confidence. Oh, I don't know, right? They don't have any personal power that's flowing through that. Physical health issues. I mean, obviously stomach problems, digestive problems, diabetes, arthritis, adrenal exhaustion, metabolic disorder, weight issues. So anorexia, bulimia, binge eating, liver issues like hepatitis, gallbladder issues, kidney, and hypertension are all kind of residing in these areas. And that's a lot of really different illnesses, and when I first learned about these, I was like, how can all of those be connected to that? Well, one of the things I learned recently that I did not know is that, a lot of us think like when we drink water, that our kidneys are like, that's the water that just goes strictly to the kidneys and the kidneys filter that. I did not know that the kidneys are actually blood filters. And, so they process a lot more and really work in conjunction with the liver. They work in conjunction with the heart and the lungs and pulling out toxins. So if we have toxic emotions, what's going to live in our body? Toxins, right? So, and toxins make imbalances with the body. So if we look at like diabetes, why does diabetes happen? Louise Hay said that it tends to be like that we've lost the sweetness of life, or we crave sweetness. But really what I have seen is beyond that, that it is craving love, craving attention and nurturing. Adrenals are, oh, I'm just so emotionally overwhelmed and exhausted. We've talked about weight as it's a protection. The liver holds on to anger, resentment, shame, and if it's unprocessed emotions, right? So that whole area is all those emotions that need to be processed. And so it's really important to kind of understand how much of an emotional center your solar plexus is and how important that area is in healing your body, mind, and soul. It is one of the areas, to me, that is, I would say, almost the most important. Like if I was to pick the 3 chakras that were really important, I would say it's the heart, I would say it's the solar plexus, and I would say it's the root chakra. And if those chakras function properly, then the rest of them will kind of naturally function properly with them. So like if you have good self-esteem, you're able to use your throat chakra and express yourself, right? So that's kind of an example of that. So solar plexus also aids the development of healthy relationships with ourselves and others. It's what helps you achieve your goals and your purpose in life. So if you're, like I said before, if you're lost in your purpose, the solar plexus is going to be what we need to work on. If we lose our power, it's because of the solar plexus, but it can also be a source of victory or success. And so when we balance that chakra, we increase our self-esteem, we empower the inner self to really develop that gut instinct intuition, to really get that gut going. It makes us feel like we can make decisions without other people, instead of going, I got to poll 15 people before I make a choice, we're able to make decisions. So like for me, one of the problems I used to have is being very indecisive. And I'd be like, I have to ask like 52 people before I can make a choice. And lately, because I've been doing some solar plexus healing, I'm like, no, I can make clear choices. I can think about this and make a choice and then move on with it. And even if it's the wrong choice, I'm okay with that, because I'm like, well, I tried it, it didn't work out. Let's try something else. Right. And so I really, really love that I am actually able to say, I don't know, what do you think? As much. I still do ask people's opinions. I value people's opinions, but then I'm able to say, okay, what feels right to me? And I still make mistakes sometimes, but it's really nice to be able to, okay, I've got some feedback, but really what feels right to me, versus feeling like you have to listen to what other people say to make your choices. Solar plexus is about creating boundaries as well. So, if you feel like you don't have healthy boundaries between the people in your life or work or whatever, it's probably because of a solar plexus imbalance, right? When the solar plexus is balanced, we're able to feel like I'm independent. And because of that, it's like, okay, I can make a boundary that's healthy. I can clarify, how I should be treated, how I feel is appropriate. And so it's our ability to say, hey, thank you, I'm not available for that. And if that solar plexus is healed, we're going to be able to use that throat chakra and express that. And as we heal that solar plexus, we're going to really step into success, independence, and personal power. And, I like to talk about success really briefly in general, because for so long I looked at success as a number in the bank account. If I don't have a certain amount of money in my bank account, I can't be successful. I'm not successful. If I don't have a house a certain size, then I'm not successful. If I don't have certain things around me, I'm not successful. And it's really funny that, I've gotten things. It's like, we definitely not rich by any stretch of the imagination, but I had a lot of the things that I thought, oh, I'll be happy when I get these things. And I'm like, oh, well, no, that didn't work. That didn't make me feel successful. But then, like I have a client who will email me and tell me, thank you for a certain class, or thank you for a healing session or a client call. And that makes me feel successful. That goes, yeah, I'm embodying my purpose. Yeah, I feel like I'm moving forward. And so, we chase success as this, physical thing, this monetary thing, when really it's a feeling. It's this feeling of, yeah, I did something amazing that made a difference. And that to me is really what success feels like. If you guys have a different perspective of success, feel free to share it below. But that's really what I feel embodies success, is this, yeah, I did it. I achieved it. I did something, I did a thing, versus, I have a Ferrari, because the Ferrari is just the Ferrari, but it's it's an outward reflection of I did a thing, right? It's something that's like, people are like, yeah, if I drive a Ferrari around, everyone's going to know I'm successful, right? But they definitely don't feel successful on their own right, or they wouldn't need that car, right? So we look at like Jeff Bezos, which I'm on the fence about the dude in some ways, but he also drove around an old Honda for years and years. I think he still does. And that was like, hey, that's, I don't need the outward symbol of success, because I'm feeling it within me. And like I said, there's still some things that I feel are questionable about him, but that's a great way to like illustrate that point of him. So if you have solar plexus imbalances that we've talked about, or the health issues that are going on, keep in mind the best thing you can do is whatever you can to elicit positive emotions in your life. Look at like what makes you feel happy, what brings kindness and joy and enthusiasm into your life. tapping into that inner child, that playfulness. And, you know, there has been a couple times, even recently, where I'm like, I don't know what makes me happy. I don't know if I know what makes me happy anymore. I don't know what I like anymore. I had forgotten myself. And, you know, those of you that are in my other classes, you guys have probably heard this story before, but I'll tell it again, because that's what I do. I tell stories. And I remember going to my husband and I was just like, I forgot my favorite flower. I don't remember my favorite color, because I had spent so much time focused on everyone else's needs as a mom of 7 and working on small businesses, that I had lost myself and I had forgotten myself. And so if you feel like you've forgotten yourself, that solar plexus is going to be a great tool for you of like, how do I feel when, you know, I am doing an activity? So like, I love roller skating. Haven't done it as much as I need to. I went on a bike ride today. That was a lot of fun. And I was on that bike ride and, you know, I hadn't done it in a while and I was kind of huffing and puffing. We only went like 2.5 miles, so it wasn't very far. But we kind of got on this downhill and the wind started blowing through my hair. And you know that feeling where you're like a little bit terrified, but you're going kind of fast on your bike, and you're like when you were a kid, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like when I was a kid, we were zooming down the hills and it was so much fun. And I got this like joyful elation. And all of a sudden I just went, woohoo. And my husband's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, this is so fun. I love this. And so it was an activity that brought those emotions back to me. So look at like, what can I do to bring that back to my life? Where, you know, what did I like as a child? If you don't remember what you liked as a child, just start testing things. You know, rent a bike. Okay, see how it feels. You might have to try it a couple of times. Try roller skating. You know, like for me, I love roller skating. It makes me feel free and amazing and happy. My husband, not so much. He doesn't like it. He wants, you know, when we go, he's like, he wants to sit on the sidelines and just watch me whirl around giggling like a crazy person. Because when he was a kid, he fell on his butt several times. He doesn't like it. So he's not very stable when it comes to stuff like that. So, you know, while roller skating elicits a very positive emotion in me, it elicits a negative emotion in him and a negative experience. And while he can recreate a new experience, it wouldn't be something that would be super healing for his solar plexus. But he does like going on bike rides with me. So that's a group project thing that we do together. So just start exploring things and trying new things. And you know what? If you buy roller skates and you decide you don't like it, real easy just to resell them, you know, or you could go to a roller skating rink and just try it out and see how it feels. But really just start exploring what elicits those type of emotions for you, because we want to keep the emotions of happiness and kindness and enthusiasm and joy around us as much as possible. And while we all have negative emotions, and, you know, I see negative emotions having a purpose of helping us understand our body and understanding who we are, we don't want to live in them, right? And, you know, I don't want to be that person that's like, all you have to do is smile and it'll be all better. I get it. Like there's sometimes where you're like, fuck this. I don't want to smile. I just like, I'm so over this. I want to sit in my misery for a little bit. Cool. Sit in your misery for a day. Netflix all day. Binge watch that with a pint of ice cream. Do it. Right. But don't make that part of your reality every day. Right. It's okay to have those days. It's okay to have those weeks. But if it starts turning into months and years, it's like, okay, we've been in this too long. We really need to back out and come into this positive emotion. And, you know, we were talking about this in one of my classes earlier because I was reading up, kind of like, you know, brushing up on my solar plexus, making sure I didn't miss anything. And we were talking a little bit about the solar plexus with someone in my class who works in the mental health care field, and how those that work as, you know, and I'm going to actually find it because it was pretty, actually really cool. There we go. I'm just going to read this. If you guys want to get this book for yourself, this is the chakras and their functions by Master Cho Kok Sui. He was a pranic healer. And I actually read through this before the class. And then her question was like, oh yeah, I just read this. Let me read it to you. So I'm going to actually read this to you guys, because if you're in any of these fields, you might find this helpful. So this is, he says, emotional and mental hygiene means proper company. So company is like the people you spend time around, not like a company that you work for. Since emotions and thoughts are transmissible. So the people that you spend time around, you will pick up their emotions and thoughts. If you've ever walked into a room, like after someone's had a big argument, but they're kind of just sitting there doing nothing, you can feel that energy. Almost everybody's had that experience, right? And so you can pick up that emotion and energy from someone who's had a negative experience, even if you don't know them. This is why he says, this is why after talking with persons with psychological disorders, one may feel depressed or physically exhausted. Prolonged interaction with this type of persons, so people who are angry or sad or mad, can manifest in physical illnesses. So a lot of people that I work with, and I bet a lot of you are empaths, where you pick up on people's emotions and energy. And I know this because I'm an unhealed healer, so I know I'm going to attract the same kind of people to me, and I'm an empath. So he's saying that, you know, if you spend too much time around this, they're going to manifest in physical ailments. That is why many priests, nuns, social workers, psychologists, and psychiatrists, after closely interacting for many years with psychologically disturbed people, tend to become physiologically affected and physically sick. And when I read that, I was like, oh my gosh, you know, I kind of knew that, but I was like, wow, that just kind of solidifies with me, you know, the importance of protecting your energy, of, you know, if you work a high stress job like that, that you are spending time doing self-care. When my husband was in medical school, one of the first things they told him in one of his introductory classes are, you need time for yourself. You cannot study all day. You must take breaks and do things that bring you joy. They also said that if you have any toxic relationships during medical school, that they're going to get worse, and that they're going to affect your school, and that you need to separate yourself out of any toxic relationships if you want to be successful in school. And I was like, wow, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because if they're in a toxic relationship and a toxic person over and over and over again, they're going to really struggle with focusing on school. I know, you know, when I was a kid in school, if I had a rough day, it was hard to do your homework, things like that. So, you know, really pay attention to the people that you spend a lot of time with. And if they're negative people, especially if you're an empath who's connected with a narcissist, look at, you know, there may be a potential that you need to release that person from your life. You know, I was in a business partnership with someone who was very narcissistic, and my health was just going down so quick. And it was really, really hard. And I finally had to walk away from the entire company because it was too much for me. It was too much. We're going to do some kind of healing work with that. Just want to touch on food with the solar plexus also really quickly. Because before we kind of get into that healing, because, you know, like we talked about earlier, obviously eating disorders are things that come from a solar plexus imbalance. And so food is very, very important to healing the solar plexus. And what is more important than anything is the person who is creating the food. If you have time and you like older movies, there's a great movie that kind of talks about this, called Ramen Girl. I don't know if any of you guys have seen Ramen Girl. Let's just see. I think it was Brittany Murphy that was in that movie, so I'll kind of screen share. It's The Ramen Girl, I'm sorry. So this is a 2008 romantic comedy with Brittany Murphy. And I love Brittany Murphy, but she goes to Japan and gets left by her boyfriend and totally just like distraught and doesn't know what to do. And so one day she stumbles upon this little small ramen restaurant, and she found that the food lifted her spirits and it brought her joy. And she was like, wow, this is amazing. So she demanded the guy teach her to make ramen. And so she kind of forced herself on this old guy to teach her to make ramen. But when she started making her ramen, the people who ate her ramen felt emotions of release of sadness, like crying and processing emotions. And so her emotions that were put into that food were different than the emotions of the chef that she learned from. And it's my belief, at least on the spiritual side, of why our foods are not as healthy for us over here in America versus like in Europe or other countries. I have friends who come from Europe and they're like, I don't know why I eat the same foods in America that I do in Europe. And I gain 15 to 20 pounds. And I go back to Europe and I lose it all. And, you know, my belief is it's because of the people that are working on the food. Typically, who works on our food? Fast food or overworked, underpaid people that are kind of like upset or sad typically. You look at like people who are working in stressful factory jobs, a lot of like stress. And so if they're making your food and they're putting their stress in that, you're literally pulling in the energy of stress, because food and water carry energy. And so keep in mind that I actually learned when I was pregnant, I had gestational diabetes with my 6th child, and I could eat one meal and it wouldn't affect my blood sugars at all. It would be fine. And then I would microwave the leftovers after, and all of a sudden, my blood sugars were all over the place. And I learned that the energy of the microwave affected the food. So if you are looking at balancing your solar plexus, look into making your food by hand. Whatever you're consuming, just make it yourself, or buy it from small like farmers markets and artisans, and notice if you feel differently, you know, than purchasing just some, you know, processed, you know, packaged stuff off the shelf that's made by machines and people who may not be as happy. Look at someone who like really loves what they're creating when you eat that food. So I'll just kind of leave that at that, especially though if you're dealing with any sort of eating disorder. You know, like for me, I tend to binge eat. And so I've started to asking myself, like, are you actually hungry, or are you emotional hungry? Are you wanting something that's going to numb those emotions? Are you wanting something to shift your emotions? And so ask yourself that. If you want to go in more into that and look at more about how emotions affect eating, there's a spiritual weight loss class that should already be up. I'm pretty sure I saw it on my YouTube, so you can go watch that one after this class. So we're going to start into our energy healing session, where we're primarily going to focus on the front and the back solar plexus, and really trying to shift that energy. If you haven't done a meditation with me, I'm just going to kind of walk through the basics of how I do meditations. So we always start with cleansing breaths, and those cleansing breaths are deep breaths through the nose. And you're going to really just envision that you're breathing in white light and just expand out your lungs, open up the chest, the stomach, and bring that in, and then push it out like that. Just blow out that energy and envision that you're blowing and pushing out that energy with it. Because this is a solar plexus class, we are really going to focus on breathing into the stomach, but also breathing into the back. So if you participate in the heart chakra class, you will probably know that we kind of breathe into that back as well. And so that's kind of the process of that. We always start with those deep breaths because we're kind of going and we're kind of learning. And then if we just kind of need to calm down and recenter, you can continue with the deep breaths during the call. I might instruct you to breathe more or do other things. Just follow along the best that you can. If at any time you feel dizzy or, don't feel well, please take a break. Just kind of do some slow, deep breathing, get a glass of water, and, come back when you feel better, or come back and watch the recording after. Typically, most people who do meditations with me will say that every once in a while I'll get someone that says, oh, I felt dizzy because the energy was really strong. But most people just say they feel really, really tired. But just be mindful and in tune with your body and aware of your body. And as you are self-aware of your body, you will understand what your body needs. And that's the most important thing you can do, is learning what your body needs versus what anybody tells you they need. I'm a teacher, guru, whatever you want to call me, but I can teach you things, but then you can learn so much more just by tuning into your body and your own intuition and your own needs. And you can literally become like your own medical intuitive, because your body will talk to you. So, all right, we're going to start. I'm going to put my little fidget. My daughter gave this for me. She's like, here, Mom, use one of my little fidget acupuncture rings. So this is actually really cool if you're a fidgety person. They're fun. So we're going to kind of get focused. I'm going to take my books and set them down, because I always end up with like 52 books in my chair, because I show everybody books because I like to read. And we're going to start with our deep breathing. And I'm just going to kind of guide you through the meditation. Try to visualize the best you can. If you're not a visual person, feel into it. What does it feel like to you? Tune into like how your skin feels, your stomach feels, and kind of feel that way. If you're not like a visualization person. So yeah, let's rock and roll. I feel like I actually need to light some incense really quick. Let me just do that and kind of get that going. I was using lighters more, but my husband ran off with my lighters, so we have matches, which I actually feel like they work a little bit better for incense than lighters. And I like to try to believe that they're a little bit more environmentally friendly, but I actually don't know if they are. But we'll pretend like they are, even if they're not. So, okay. Got a little bit of incense going. And, if you don't have incense at your house, just envision that the incense is coming around through the computer. It's coming over to you and cleansing your energy. To open a door and a window. So I'm going to do that really quick and explain to you, why do we open a door and a window when we're burning sage, incense, Palo Santo, things like that? Because the smoke pulls the energy out. And one of my mentors is an Ojibwa Nation medicine man, and he taught me this. He said, the smoke is what's cleansing, but the smoke takes that energy and lifts all of that energy in need of healing up and away from you and out to God, creator in the universe. And so if you're doing any sort of cleansing through smoke, open your windows and your doors so that the smoke can take it out, instead of just taking the energy up to your ceiling and letting it hang out there. So, all right. Thank you for that reminder. Let us begin. So we're going to start with 3 deep cleansing breaths, and we're going to breathe in 1 through the nose. Pause and exhale. Breathe in 2. Pause and exhale. And last deep breath in. Pause and exhale. You can continue to deep breathe, continuing to feel into your body. If you are able to and want to, you can place your tongue on the roof of your mouth to more fully connect your energy. And we're going to just focus in on our solar plexus, that area that's kind of between the chest and the belly button. And I want you to just kind of feel into that area and just notice, how does it feel? Are you feeling any sensations? Are you feeling any emotions? Are there words that come to your mind? Are you holding on to worry, stress, fear, anger, guilt? Just kind of process what's there in your stomach. Just process, just become aware of who you are, of what your solar plexus is doing. I want you to kind of shift your focus towards the back of your body, seeing if there's any emotions of the past that are hanging out, that are projecting away from you through that back solar plexus. You can feel into your kidneys, your spine. Just really feel those emotions. And I want you guys to just be grateful for all the emotions, positive and negative, doesn't matter what they are. We're just going to hold some gratitude, some understanding that we welcome all emotions, because emotions are part of the human experience. They help us to understand ourselves. They help us to understand our purpose. They help us to understand the world around us. And so we are grateful and welcome all emotions and experiences, knowing that there is no good and bad, that they are all there to give us understanding and growth. So let's just take another deep breath in. And I just want you to kind of start thinking of those emotions and telling your body it's time to release them. So we're going to focus into that. And you can say with me out loud or in your mind. Just want to start with saying one word, and that word is release. So let's focus in on the solar plexus, focus in on any densities or heaviness that you feel, and let's just kind of release, release, release. Envision that solar plexus starting to spin in a clockwise motion, and just say that word again, release, release. And that solar plexus may be hard for you to get it moving. It may feel like it's rusty or covered in dirt, but just envision that, like cogs in a wheel, that we're kind of starting to move that energy. And that energy is starting to move. And every time we say release, a little bit more rust, a little bit more heaviness and density falls off of that stomach. And so I'll just say it a few more times. Release. Say it into your back and your front. Release. 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 You might feel some movement as your body sways with that. Just one more time. Release. Let's take a deep breath in and really fill that breath into your stomach this time. And I'd like you to really start breathing into your stomach. First, we're going to focus on the front solar plexus and really just pushing that out, envisioning that you are breathing in to the stomach. And so as we inhale, the stomach will expand and move out. As you exhale, collapse and push that stomach in, really pushing out all that old stagnant air. So let's breathe in, expanding your stomach. And push out. Let's do that 2 more times. Breathe in. And last time, breathe in. And Now we're going to repeat that breath in our back. So as you breathe in, expand out your back. And then straighten that back on the exhale. Breathe in, expanding that back and allowing that to just break up any dense energy. And push that out. One more deep breath in. And then push that breath out. So I'd like you to feel back into your solar plexus. We're going to feel that energy. We might feel some warmth or some tingling, some sensations that you're not used to. And we're going to just start sending beautiful yellow, orange, golden light to kind of re-energize your solar plexus. Feel that energy absorb into the belly. Feel that warmth falling all over your stomach. Feel that wrap around behind you, re-energizing and filling that body. If there's any remaining stagnant energy or emotions, we're going to just send a little streak of green to sweep through the stomach, the kidneys, the liver, the gallbladder, the pancreas, the esophagus, the upper intestines. Just kind of sweeping through and releasing and kind of pushing that out. Just imagine that yellow-orange light pushes out all that dense energy, that green. And we're going to focus in on the size of our solar plexus. How big is your solar plexus? Is it small and not drawing in enough energy? Or is it large and drawing in too much energy? There's no right or wrong answer. Just sit and feel where your solar plexus is. And if it needs to be expanded, allow that light to push it out and expand it kind of to the edge of your torso, about 2 to 3 feet big. If your solar plexus is too big, allow that light to swirl around and kind of condense that solar plexus, bringing it in. You might feel that your stomach is shrinking or expanding with this emotion. So we're going to just bring it in. We're going to draw in that energy with gratitude. And we're going to tell our solar plexus, and we're going to command it to reset to its original size, intent, purpose, and functionality that is healthiest for my spiritual and physical body. I command the solar plexus to restore, to heal, and balance. We ask the solar plexus to release any remaining fears, worry, stressful emotions, and draw into it forgiveness, happiness, strength, and peace of mind. Just kind of breathe into your stomach, fill into that area. I'm going to focus in on the back solar plexus. And we're going to kind of repeat the same process, allowing that yellow gold light to come in. And if the solar plexus is too large, we're going to ask it to shrink and restore, to rebalance. If it is too small, we're going to ask it to push out to its original depth and purpose. And just feel that beautiful warm light around your body. Just take a deep breath in. Tell your body thank you. Feel gratitude for your body, for your solar plexus, for the knowledge and emotional processing that it does. for the intuition that it gives to you. Feel the gratitude. Start to feel that gratitude in your heart. And that gratitude starts to reflect from your heart as a beautiful white light. And that beautiful white light is the energy of your soul, your chi, your prana, your subconscious energy pushing out from your body with just love and kindness. And I just want you to sit with that love. Kind of feel that uplifting feeling in your stomach, that joy start to well up, that excitement when you feel love. Just kind of sit with love for a minute in your solar plexus, that emotion. Feel that love. And then we're going to send that white light out beyond your body. It's going to flow down your fingers, your hands. It's going to flow up to the top of your body, pushing down into your feet and allowing that white light to push out beyond your body to the edges of your auric field, allowing that white light to fill any cracks or crevices, any holes or damages that have been created for removing, cleansing, or healing. We're just going to send that restorative light, allow it to gently start flowing and swirling around you. Take a deep breath in. Let's connect that light down to earth, grounding us. Let's connect it up to the universe, to God Creator, allowing us to be completely connected and allowing that energy exchange to continue to balance, regenerate, and restore our body. And this healing energy that we have created around us will stay for 2 to 3 days, drawing its energy from the earth and from source as long as we need it to create healing and to continue with rebalancing our solar plexus. Take a deep breath in. And now you can say out loud or with me in your mind, I permanently clear all negative attachments and emotions connected with my solar plexus. I release this energy and heal it backwards through time, forward into the future, sideways, up and down on all layers and all dimensions. I permanently heal and clear backwards to all of my ancestors who would receive this energy and this healing with their permission, forwards to my posterity, my ancestors in the future. With their permission, I send this healing, permanently healing, releasing all genetic components, ancestral ties, and inherited emotions throughout time. Take a deep breath in. Just kind of place both of your hands over your belly. Feel gratitude for your stomach. I feel gratitude for your solar plexus, all related organs that are in that solar plexus. Just send them love and gratitude. Gratitude for the healing that you have received. Gratitude for the healing that you will receive in the future. Just say thank you one last time. Sitting with that warmth and happiness as you start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. You move your back. Take a deep breath. Move your neck. Wiggle your shoulders and open your eyes. Come back into the room and kind of just get used to reality again. Oh, there's the yawn. yawning, burping, farting, sneezing. Those are all energetic releases. And so we welcome all of those releases. So my body wanted to yawn and let go of some stuff because typically when I heal my body, I go in, I sleep. So sleeping is very restorative and healing. So that makes sense to me. So really quick, does anybody have any questions or comments on how that felt for you or anything that we talked about in the solar plexus class today? You're welcome to raise your hand, unmute, or post in the comments and share your experiences or your questions. I definitely welcome all experiences and would love to know how that felt for you guys, or if there's anything else that you want to know about the solar plexus. Laura says, thank you. I think that is a meditation I will definitely do again. Well, awesome, because you guys can listen to this over and over again, and envision that healing again. Sometimes, there's years and years of emotions built up. And, I always explain that healing is like a layer. Like if you think of like the movie Shrek, where Shrek's like, ogres are like onions, we have layers. Healing is the same way. It has layers. And so those layers of healing, sometimes they need to be peeled back. And then like we cry a little, we release, and then we cry and find, oh my God, there's another layer. We peel that back and cry and release again. So there will be multiple layers of healing. So don't feel discouraged if you're like, well, crap, I thought I was all healed. We did one class and wait, there's still other stuff. There might be multiple things that come up for you. Just kind of keep that in mind. So hopefully that has been helpful to you guys. And you guys have found this class restorative and healing to your solar plexus. Thank you everybody for coming and participating in our solar plexus class today. I say this often, but it's true. I am eternally grateful for you guys. I always feel like crying when I say this because it's so funny. Like they have this distracting cars racing in the background over here because my energy, like this is hard, for me. It's like, I tried for so long to share my gifts with people and I didn't know what I was doing or how to do it. And then this past year has just been an amazing whirlwind of being able to share my gifts and my knowledge and help people. And I am so grateful that you guys chose to spend your time with me and allow me to help you with this. So thank you for that. And I will look forward to seeing you guys in the next class. And we'll have lots of fun classes that are coming up. Have a beautiful day. Go rest, relax, make sure you're hydrating to keep that energy moving. I got my new little cup here. And I am trying to do the same as staying hydrated for myself. And yeah, just follow what your body needs and have a beautiful night, everybody. I'll look forward to seeing you guys in the next class. Bye, everybody.